Hello everyone, my name is Adrian Munoz and I'm here interviewing our school superintendent, Dr. G. It's very
How
nice
are
to
you
meet
today?
you, sir.
How are you
Yourself.
doing?
Good yourself.
Having a good day?
Yes, I am.
Good.
Really nice to meet you today. Okay, to start off this interview, we know that one of your many areas of expertise is finance. How difficult is it to manage complex budgets and allocating resources effectively?
It's not an easy job. Anybody that tells you finance is easy, it isn't. This is a small school, so it's a relatively small budget, about 20 million, between 20 and 30 million a year. The actual school budget being about 12 to 13 million, and the rest being grants and different ways that we get income. What's difficult about finance, that's different than anything else, mistakes that are made literally cost you. So you can't make mistakes. It's a detailed and complex operation. Example, what is the biggest cost in most places? Human personnel. So you got to keep track of how many people you're hiring, what it's costing, and you got to keep it to a certain percentage of budget. So it's very complex. You got all the fixed costs like electrical, different things that are needed that way. It is a complex business.
Mm-hmm. And we thank you for understanding that and allocating everything perfectly, I'd say.
We're a lot better off than we were 5 or 6 years ago. 5 or 6 years ago when I got here, the schools were about to be closed because they were losing kids, staff, and money. And TEA had put it, do not give any more money to these charter schools, the Burnhamwood charter schools. TEA had stopped our money flow. So there was no money. We were able to correct that, and now we're in what's called an A-plus budget situation.
Oh wow, so you literally actually saved our schools.
Well, I don't know if I'd say I saved them, but somebody else probably could have saved them too. But really, the money had to be looked at, allocated properly, and used properly, and that's what we did.
Okay. To our next question, we know for a fact that every district that has been under your management, you turn into a success. What strategies or initiatives do you implement for improving student achievement?
You first have to understand the school. I never have gone to a school district, and I've been, I think, in 8 now. I've never gone there that I didn't come out before the fact and really investigate and research the school district. What are the people like? What are the expectations? What are the kids like? What kind of budget do they have? What are they good at, and what are they not so good at? So that's what I did here. Now, once you get there, really for any successful endeavor, it's people. Forget if you got enough money, you can get money. Forget if you got enough knowledge, you can get knowledge. What are the people like? What are their habits? What are their attitudes? What morality do they have? What kind of attitude do they have? And then, once you know the people, you can go to work to try to build a team. And really, it's all about how good a team you get. If you get a good team, you're going to have good results. If you get a mediocre team, you're going to have average results. If you don't get a good team, you're going to close business. So I always study the people. I meet with every person working in an organization, and I've been in some where there were 40,000 kids. So we had thousands of workers. But I meet with every person that works in a school or an organization before I start.
Okay, so there's a fair amount of psychology that you put into
It's
it.
psychology, and more than psychology, it's relationship. If you have enough time to meet with people, they start to think that maybe you care about what they do, and you tell them that they're valuable and why, and they're going to respond. Most people will respond to the proper treatment, but they won't respond to bad treatment.
Mm-hmm. All right. Wow, that's actually very insightful. Thank you, mister.
That's what we do.
I've heard that you've always been ahead of the game and that you've been using certain trends in the last 40 years that are barely being implemented in our times, such as prescriptive tutoring and appropriate developmental practices. How do you stay current with the latest trends and best practices in education?
I'm always watching and listening, and I'm always evaluating how effective a person or an organization is. When you find people and organizations that are effective, example, in the food business, Chick-fil-A is hugely important. Now, they don't and never have cost as much to own a Chick-fil-A franchise as McDonald's and others, and yet they have one of the best turnarounds and popularity in food of any place. So you look at a Chick-fil-A, what do? It's how they train their people. They're usually very much trained, very capable, and very people friendly. And so we study wherever we're going to go. Also, I read about 2 to 3 hours a night. I have some books by my bed all the time, and most of them are about education or organizational makeup or big businesses that made it, little businesses that didn't, so forth. And I read that and I look at what are the similar, I make charts about what did these businesses all do the same. That's an A. What did these businesses not do the same? You wonder about that. So you got to study, read, and be ahead of what's happening. Don't read what's happening now. Read what people think is going to happen in the future. Then, for example, people got nervous about COVID. So everybody closed their schools. We never closed. We were the only school in the greater El Paso area that never closed. And yet, our COVID, the cases of COVID was less than anybody. But yet we stayed face to face. That's staying ahead of all that. Why? Because I read about COVID. I read how it spread, how it didn't spread, how some of the things that were being said weren't even true. Even the mask. People all wore masks and there was some discrepancy in how that was. So stay ahead of the time by reading ahead, watching people that are successful, and don't plan for the present, plan for the future.
Wow, that's actually very impressive, sir.
That's what we do.
Okay. We've all heard about your absolute dedication to the school, with your working tirelessly for long hours at a time. Have you ever had to deal with a crisis situation at a school you have led, and how did you handle it?
We had a crisis when I was I was at, I'm trying to think of schools, I've been at so many of them. San Angelo. We were about 3 or 4 days away from graduation, and the high school burned down.
Oh.
In the middle of the night, you were hearing these cars and sirens, and we looked around, and we said, wait a minute. We went outside, and we saw this big flame. And I thought, wow, that looks like it's over by the high school. And sure enough, about 5 minutes later, I get a call, come to the high school. It's burning down. It burned to the ground. It was a 5A high school. It was a big high school. Burned to the ground. Burned the diplomas, burned the graduation gown, burned all the records for the kids, and it was a crisis. Well, that town was very aggressive, and the people were very aggressive. So that was at night. That was about maybe 11 o'clock at night. So I called all the administrators, and there were a lot of them. There were like, I think, 400 of them. So I brought them all in at like 2 in the morning. I called them, I woke them up. I said, come on in, we're gonna have a meeting. So we got that meeting and we did some planning. And there's a certain way that you plan for crises, for things that are unexpected, and we did that. And by the morning, we already had on every radio, on every TV, and every newspaper, we did a special edition for us. And we had at every door flyers and everybody that went to those schools to come to a big meeting about the future of that high school at the Coliseum. We had a huge Coliseum. We had 5,000 people come. They were angry. I guess they thought we lit the fire, I don't know. But they came, and we had this planning session where everybody got to talk. No, they got little cards, and we had to go through all the cards in groups and come out with answers. We were there about 3 hours, and we came out, everybody clapped, because we had a plan. We got portables, just tons of them. We put in roads. We got the teachers and everybody situated. And within 1 week, we were back in school full time in portables. The gym didn't burn down, so we used that. The library didn't burn down because they were separate buildings. We used that. And we rebuilt that school, and by the time we started school, we had a brand new high school. We never missed anything. Because when the kids couldn't go to our building because it was burned, we went to all the other schools that weren't burned and put kids in there. And we were teaching in the hallways. We went and got churches. We never missed a day. The kids graduated. We got everything ready. And by school time in the fall, brand new high school.
Wow.
That was a crisis. And we had, I think there was 8 television stations there filming that. All the radio, a lot of people, big city, a lot of kids. Everybody left happy because we had a plan. We wouldn't have had that plan if we wouldn't have worked all night. You got to do what it takes.
Mm-hmm. That jump to action is admirable. It really is, because you stated under a week they were already in the classes.
We had them in the classes. We brought the portables in. We got them set up. Teachers and everybody were out there working. We built roads into the portables. They weren't cement roads or they weren't asphalt. They were compacted gravel, but we had everything set up and the kids didn't miss. And they still played their sports too.
Wow.
Yep. We had to play, we had everything. We had everything.
Okay.
So that's what we did.
That's amazing, sir. We know how much our families appreciate you and trust you. How do you engage parents and families in supporting their children's education at Da Vinci High School?
Well, we take every call that comes in. If a parent calls or anyone calls, I try to get all those calls in by that same night. If I can't, I get them on in the morning. A lot of times you won't see me here in the morning because I'm returning all the calls that came in over the night. And I'm also, if there's messages, I return all calls. And I talk to them about whatever it is, whether they're happy or they're kind of on the schools, they're not happy. You talk to them, you let them talk, you don't interrupt them. And I would say more than 95% of the time, you can come to an understanding. You got to communicate with the people, and you can't be shy of the people.
Okay.
That's
Wow.
what we do.
Amazing, sir. You obviously set the best example, but what do you believe are the most important qualities of a successful superintendent?
Can't be lazy. You got to work. You got to work a lot of hours. You should always work more than anybody that works for you. I try to set a situation, hours-wise. I work, no matter what, I'm up at 6. If I went to bed at 4, I'm still up at 6. I will start at 6, and I will take phone calls till midnight from anybody. Generally, I work until about 2 o'clock, 3, and then I'm back up at 6. So you got to outwork. There's one thing you can do. Someone can come to an interview for the same job that you want. They might be better looking. They might be smarter. They might have a lot of attributes you don't have, but there's one thing they can't do. If you got it made in your mind that nobody's going to outwork you, they can't outwork you. There'll be a lot of people that have less talent, less ability, a lot of attributes, but you'll beat them because you outwork them. Mm-hmm. That's what you have to do. Set the example.
Your drive is amazing for the school, for everything. Just your work ethic is admirable. It really is.
We need to do, people give us the most important thing to us. When they give us the children, they're giving us more than money. They're giving us more than if they give you their best, most prized material. They're giving you their children. If you don't take that job seriously, you shouldn't be there. And I don't have much patience, really, for people that don't care about the kids, because that's what we're here for. And if you'll notice, I talk to all the kids whenever I can. I go out as much as I can. If they need something, I'm going to talk to them. But you have to get ahead of the workload, and you have to have the right attitude about why you're in that job.
Mm-hmm. And that's why you're an amazing superintendent for the school, and
Well,
we
thank
appreciate
you.
you for that.
That's nice of you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You have done so much for our district. We went from almost closing to being one of the best schools in El Paso. Are there any other improvements that you hope to bring to Da Vinci?
I think we need to grow to a certain amount, but not too much. The forecast right now for charter schools is not good. All of the experts, in fact, I was just talking to one on the phone, that's what held me up. And he was asking me, what do you do to keep Da Vinci alive? Because all these charter schools all over America that are small are being closed. The formula that has been proposed is to keep the big ones open. The IDEA, the Harmony, the KIPP, all those schools. The ones that have thousands and thousands and thousands of kids and millions and millions and millions, they stay open. The word is, by the experts, if there are such things as experts, that all schools that are small will be closed within 5 years. I don't believe that. I think if you perform properly, produce good grades for the kids, scholarships, good education, I think you can fight with people and stay alive. But we have to do things for the future like you're asking. What do? We need to grow. We grew from 676 or 79, I can't remember when I came. We'll be at 1,800 next year. We will grow only to about 3,500, 3,500. But that'll be a big school for us. We'll grow to that. That makes us competitive. And we will look to do things that others don't do. We do a lot of things that the big schools even don't do. We take more trips. We have more opportunities for the children, for the kids. You have to look to the future and know the future and gamble a little bit and not be afraid. And then you stay ahead of the curve and people will still come here.
So you're saying the future is very unclear, but we can do our best to try.
We'll do our best. We'll stay alive. We can outdo people. This year will be harder. Every year is hard for us because we bring so many new people. When we used to just be Burnhamwood, and everybody came from Howard Burnham, and there was no linguistic, and they came, some went to Vista. It was easy because we had the kids, we trained them, we knew what they were going to do in scores. But now we bring them from all over. It's harder. But we work hard. We got great people that really work like with the kids like they're supposed to. That's called teachers. You got to be careful who you hire, and they got to be good because we got to keep the quality coming.
Amazing. Just amazing for everything about that.
That's what we have to do.
For sure, mister. Da Vinci is probably the best STEM school in El Paso. How do you see technology playing a role in education, and what steps have you taken to integrate technology into learning environments?
Technology is the big thing. It was what was called the present, but really now it's the future. So you have to know a lot. In my time, we didn't have computers. We had a long yellow pad and a pen. We did everything on there. But now, if you can't deal with the technology and know, not that you have to be great at technology, there's people that are quicker with a computer than I am, but I know what it can do. If you can conceptually know what technology will do and make sure you got the latest going on, we got everybody with a device now. When they don't have one, we get one. We got a person out here, his name's Aaron, and Polanco is his last name. His work ethic is tremendous and his knowledge is better yet. You have to have those kind of people so we can be ready. When we had to do that distance learning, a lot of schools couldn't do it. And they call it virtual. They got all kinds of names, but it's really distance learning. We had everybody that could come in to the school via computer. Get the things you need, the devices, know what phones can do. Phones can do a lot. And you have to know what is coming next. Now the new thing you're going to see, I believe, is going to be using video more, like you're doing right now. Telling a story not through pictures, what they call dead pictures, meaning they don't move. Not that the people are dead, but the pictures. I think not enough video is used. What's the matter, Ms. Lugo? All right, she got in my interview, see? All right. People don't use video enough. Other people watching would rather see a video of you than a picture. So we got to use video to teach. We got to go in and watch the very best teachers, like Pedro Hernandez. He's a good teacher. Go in there and video him. Show new and young teachers coming in how it looks, how it should look, and always get your best opinion of what should be done on film. That's what's coming. The future is going to be video. It's going to be using video for teaching, for learning, and for being a master educator.
I never thought of videos being that beneficial, actually.
Actually, video was here before anything, but people didn't use it right. Now, look at the cameras you guys have here in a little school. You got really up-to-date cameras. You got a person that's been in film industry, television, all that. We got good teachers, and video is going to be the big thing. You'll be sending, instead of a Christmas present to your whoever, maybe it's going to be your girlfriend, I don't know, but you're going to be sending a video of yourself and talking. Now, you can talk through here, but something they can keep. It's going to be, I'm saying video is going to play a big part in the future of education for children.
Wow. Actually, very interesting point. I'm excited to see how video plays a role in my future education.
I think also, if you look at industry, I think there's going to be some automation, that is robots and others, but they'll never really replace the ability of a person that can think and help with those robots, or can video something to show anyone that wants to learn what to do in that factory, how to do it on the line.
Mm-hmm. So the authenticity then.
Yeah, you have to have that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You've had so many offers this year to either replicate, incubate, or take over other schools. What experience do you have with developing and implementing strategic plans for schools?
I've never really stayed at a school a long time. I did stay, when I was teaching, I stayed at a school, I think it was maybe 15 years. I'm thinking 16, I think. But I never really stayed too long because ever since I've been an administrator, I try to find schools that are having some kind of problem. Either the kids aren't passing the test, or here there wasn't enough money, or too many people were leaving, or too many people were changing their attitude to the negative about Birnham Wood. I always try to find schools. I've done schools that are gang infested, that no one could get them to behave, that no one could get them to graduate. We had one set school in Austin. They had only a few graduates when we got there. And when we were there and left 4 years later, 89% of them graduated. And before that, it was like less than 2%. So I always like schools that have a need. It's easy to go into a school that's got all the money, all the parents are college educated, all the parents have good jobs. Expectation is at every dinner table. Expectation is everywhere. The kids travel everywhere. They know everything. That's easy. I like the ones where the kids need somebody to help them. That's what I like. So we have a plan. The plan is meet the people, greet the people, talk to the people, don't lie to the people, and do what you say you're going to do. People would hear me say, we're going to have vans here for transportation. They'd say, Mr. Shetty, you know, the Mr. Shetty, the one with hair, not the other one, all right? He would say, you know, you would say you were going to do all these things and we'd all go laugh and drink beer, whatever they did. Take that out of there if you want to. But he said, we'd say, there's no way. We've never had vans here. We've never had, well, we got them. And then they'd say, we're going to have buses. Oh, that's never going to happen. We got them. We're going to build new buildings. We're going to have all kinds of after-school stuff, more than the regular school, more than the ISD. People don't believe, but you don't expect them to believe if you don't tell the truth and follow through. Right now, we got some big, I was just talking on the phone here to get $2 million so we could buy some new land, so we could put our competitive sports out there, build a swimming pool, and build a high school. That's what I was talking about. We need to keep moving, but you got to deliver. Don't promise what you can't deliver. Always deliver what you say. That's a key.
So you're truly a man of your word, and you really did give these a lot of second chances.
We second chances are really. So I have another philosophy that probably isn't part of this, but it's important to hear. I have a philosophy about the kids. I don't like to not have kids at school. I don't like a lot of suspension because what do kids do when they get suspended? They watch television and waste time. I'd rather have them like we have in the school, within a school, where they got to be studying, being tutored, all of that. We don't like suspension. Short term, that's all. The other thing is, I don't like kids to be expelled unless it's something serious, because you're going to hurt that kid's record for the rest of their life. You're going to hurt that kid. I'd rather give a kid 5 chances rather than 1 and see how much success we can have. It's that second, third, fourth, fifth chance. You got to do it with adults too. Adults make mistakes, but you got to understand we all make mistakes. Mm-hmm. Let's see what we can do about it. That's how I feel about it.
Wow. I love your empathy with this kind of subject. It's very...
We have to. Somebody has to have that, and especially if it can be the superintendent or the director, somebody, or a principal, somebody like that that's important in the hierarchy. If they can get that philosophy, it's catchy. Others will get it.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So you do have a whole system for this.
We got a system. We got an idea. We got an idea for everything. Most of the time they work. Sometimes they don't. You go back, you tweak it, and you try it again. Or if it's no good, you dump it. Try something new.
So failure, don't be afraid of failure.
No, doesn't matter.
Okay.
Teaches you something.
It definitely does.
It does.
Okay. You've had so many offers this year to the, same one. Whether they are students, teachers, or staff, there's a lot of people that would like to become part of the Birnham Wood family. What is your approach to recruitment, hiring, and retention of high-quality teachers and staff members?
Our retention of staff members is probably the best we know in the area it is, and probably one of the top 10 in the state. We don't lose many people. When they leave here, we always know that within a year or two they'll want to come back. We don't worry about it. We have our ideals, we have our beliefs, we have our rules and regulations, and if we don't believe them, we shouldn't have had them. But if you have them, you don't have rules if you don't enforce them, because now everybody says they don't mean it. They're not going to do anything about it. Now you don't have people believing in what you're doing. So what I do about recruitment is we get the good people. Miss Lugo is out just about every weekend recruiting, going to the malls, going wherever we have to go where there's people, having the dancers out there, the band, whoever. And we get a lot of people from that. But we only send out our people that really believe in what we're doing here. Not everybody's always going to be happy with everything, but for the most part, we can get most of our team on the same bandwagon.
Okay.
That's what you got to do. Now, how do you recruit besides that? Put flyers all over the place. When I first came here, when I came here, there wasn't a logo. There wasn't a Da Vinci logo. That what you're wearing? There wasn't one. No one had a logo. I said, oh, give me the stationery, the official stationery. They said, we don't have any. I said, well, get me your logo. We'll make some. Well, we don't have logos. Well, just about every place you go, I never go without a hat or something that says Da Vinci or Vernon Wood Charter School. They didn't have an identity, a brand. They didn't have it. We created it. People believe in it. We push it. And that's why people know who we are, because they see us everywhere.
So you could say you're the man behind our physical...
Well, we made those logos, I can tell you that. We've changed them a couple of times because we found something better, but we made a logo. They had for Vernon Wood, for example, for Howard Burnham, they had a tree. Nobody knew what the tree was. It didn't say Howard Burnham Tree of Hope or anything. It was just a tree. And people said, what is that? So if I could show you that they didn't have even stationery, it didn't have logos, how was Da Vinci and other schools going to be known? Now people know who we are. When you go someplace, I'll go someplace and they'll say, well, where do you work? And I'll tell them, do you know that school, Da Vinci? And they'll say, oh yeah, I know Da Vinci. And then you say, well, that's one of our schools. People know the brand. It's called creating a brand.
I didn't realize how impactful a logo like this actually does to the, I guess, credibility or people being able to memorize what
they
stands
like,
for.
you see it in an airplane, you wear it. Hey, I know that school. Hey, my kid was there. My aunt had a, people know Da Vinci, but they know the logo. Mm-hmm. So that's what we do.
Oh, okay. What are some of the most pressing issues facing public education today, and how are they addressed here at Da Vinci?
The most pressing issue right now why teachers are leaving the education is the pressure they get from some parents. Now, I don't want to say all parents because our parents are really quite good. But I'm reading today and talking to what we call our administrative cabinet that school boards all over the United States are hiring protection. Why? Because people are coming in there and verbally abusing them, sometimes physically abusing them. You got teachers that are saying they're getting out because they can't handle all those parents calling them that are angry. And that you have to know how to handle those people. You don't back up, you're not rude, you don't make them more angry, but they're leaving and something has to be done to give schools that authority to do what they do, because people are afraid that they're going to be second guessed, they're going to be criticized, and maybe sometimes worse. So we have to have the schools get back in shape. We have discipline here. I never back up from discipline because I think it's great if used properly. Not discipline to be mean, but discipline to have some kind of an idea what's expected here, and to have an identity that we're a discipline, we're organized, we're going to get the job done. Da Vinci kids are competitive. Sometimes we go to play these other teams that are way bigger and you say, wow. But then we get out there and they beat them because our kids are competitive. They play and they play hard. If it's chess, they're going to play hard. If it's whatever it is, if it's drama's real good. All the Da Vinci kids got this spirit of, we want to do it. We want to do it well. That's what happens.
Our students are very dedicated. I've definitely seen that.
They are.
Yes.
They are.
So I definitely do believe you in that aspect.
Yes, it's very important.
Mm-hmm. Very important. Okay. You always advocate for diversity and respect, especially for minorities. What experience do you have with leading and managing diverse teams of individuals?
Right now I think we have a need for more diversity here. I think we have Latinos, Latinas, and we have Anglo people, but I think we need more black people. I think we need more Asian kind of people, that particular type of person. I think that the greater the melting pot, like they talk about America, the greater you're going to be as an individual. You're going to understand others, you're going to do what's good for others, and you're not going to have this petty hatred that's out there where people are picking on someone just because of who they are, race-wise or ethnicity-wise. So that's what we do, and we're going to continue to do that. And we like to reflect the community. If the community's got a a lot of Latinos, but nobody in leadership in your school, that's bad. We won't do that. We're going to reflect to you guys so you can say, well, they look like me and we can go and do what we want. We can make it. That's what we do.
To end off our show with our last question, tell us about the new security system and how you have prioritized safety and security in our district.
We had, you noticed that before, we had a guard at every gate. No one could get in. We were the only school in this whole area that had a guard at every gate. Other schools, you could walk up, and if there was a door open, you're in. Here, you couldn't get to the doors because you couldn't get past the guards. Now what we've done is we've had that automated, that the gates close and open by themselves. You have to have a passcode or what's called a fob or even a remote control, or you have to call in and somebody lets you in. So that's really going to help us with security. The other thing we do is we have people that just do security, that they walk all day. You'll see this tall guy, his name is Stuart. He walks all day and he's looking for anybody that's out on the fringes that's trying to get in that shouldn't. They're watching, they walk behind the schools, through the schools. We really prioritize security. It doesn't really matter how good a school you are if you're going to let the people that go there get hurt. It's not good. So we're going to always be very secure here.
Well, it feels great to have that extra peace in mind knowing that we're protected.
We
with all these
will
precautions.
always have great security here.
That's amazing, sir. Well, this is the end of our show. It was very nice to talk to you, Dr. G.
Good to have you. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope to talk to you again, sir.
That's good. Good interview here, Mr. Montes.